There is a bizarre place in the remote Western Sahara Desert called the Richat structure. And if you've never seen or heard of this place before, you are in for something truly fascinating. The interest in the Eye of the Sahara is not just limited to us here chatting about it over the internet. Because it turns out that the CIA has also had quite an interest in this place as well.
I mean, it's just crazy. We've talked about, alternative theories to how the pyramids were built.
Yeah. I'm willing to accept that the Great Pyramid was largely completed by the ancient Egyptians. But remember that the ancient Egyptians tell us in many of their texts that everything they knew was a legacy. It was all an inheritance of the gods, and
Right.
I don't construe the gods as aliens.
Beneath the sands of modern-day Sudan and southern Egypt lies the story of a civilization whose architectural prowess rivaled that of the ancient Egyptians, the Nubians.
I think we're looking at hints and clues that something is missing in our story.
Known for constructing more pyramids than their northern neighbors, the Nubians created a kingdom of extraordinary wealth, culture, and power. But as the tides of history shifted, their grand structures were gradually reclaimed by the desert, and their story obscured by the sands of time.
I want to know what else is going to be found that hasn't been investigated yet at all. We're just touching the edge of a huge mystery.
Where did this great civilization go? And what secrets do their ancient cities and towering pyramids still hold? The Nubian civilization, nestled along the Nile River in what is now Sudan and southern Egypt, stands as one of Africa's oldest and most fascinating civilizations.
A great civilization that had been destroyed and that had left some survivors who had come to Egypt.
With a history that stretches back to the Neolithic period, Nubia is celebrated for its complex social structure, advanced architectural prowess, and dynamic interactions with ancient Egypt. The story of Nubia's exploration and its archaeological significance unfolds with intriguing depth, particularly when considering its ties to Egypt. During the 19th century, as European powers expanded their reach across Africa, scholars and archaeologists often accompanied colonial expeditions, initially focusing on the pharaonic marvels of Egypt due to their spectacular allure and global fascination. However, these explorers soon ventured into modern-day Sudan, where they uncovered the rich heritage of Nubia.
Yes, there's been some archaeology in the Sahara Desert, but not very much.
Richard Lepsius, a pioneering German Egyptologist, was one of the first to document Nubian antiquities extensively during his Prussian expedition from 1842 to 1845. His meticulous records and sketches provided a detailed overview of Nubian archaeological wealth, charting numerous sites including temples, tombs, and entire settlements previously unknown to the broader scholarly community. Yet these early explorations were not without their challenges. Adventurers faced harsh climates and political instability, and their initial perceptions of Nubia were often clouded by colonial biases, frequently underestimating the sophistication of the Nubian civilization in comparison to their northern neighbors, the Egyptians. Nubia's relationship with Egypt was marked by periods of both conflict and cooperation, with Nubian kings at times dominating Egypt, especially during the 25th dynasty, also known as the Nubian dynasty. This era is crucial for understanding the significant influence Nubians had on Egyptian politics, culture, and religion. Pharaoh Taharqa, a notable ruler of this dynasty, oversaw an era of considerable architectural and cultural achievements, with extensive building projects in both Egypt and Nubia. His contributions in Thebes and Karnak, showcasing a blend of Egyptian and Nubian artistic styles, are particularly well documented. The rediscovery of the Nubian dynasty has been pivotal, highlighting the Nubians not just as conquerors but as integrators who significantly enhanced the Egyptian state's infrastructure and cultural life. Turning our gaze to a broader horizon, comparing Nubia and Mesopotamia offers fascinating parallels. Both civilizations flourished around mighty rivers, the Nile for Nubia and the Tigris-Euphrates for Mesopotamia, providing the fertile ground that supported dense populations and the development of complex societies. Just as Nubia interacted with Egypt, Mesopotamia had dynamic relationships with its neighbors, engaging in both cultural exchanges and military conflicts. Architecturally, while Nubia is renowned for its pyramids and monumental temples, Mesopotamia is credited with the development of ziggurats and the pioneering use of brick as a primary building material. Both regions also developed their writing systems, with cuneiform in Mesopotamia and Meroitic scripts in Nubia, which were vital for administrative, religious, and cultural expressions, remaining crucial for archaeologists and historians in understanding these ancient societies.
If you wish to pass information to a distant future, you wouldn't be smart to just write it down. How can we know that our script is going to be readable by any other culture, let's say 10,000 years in the future?
George Reisner's pioneering archaeological work in Nubia at the beginning of the 20th century has dramatically enhanced our understanding of the ancient kingdom of Kush, shedding light on a civilization that was at various times a rival and a partner to ancient Egypt. As a professor at Harvard University, Reisner was dispatched by the Harvard University Museum of Fine Arts Boston expedition to delve into the historical mysteries of Egypt and Nubia. His investigations in Nubia were among the first to apply scientific archaeological methods in the region, establishing new standards for documenting the excavation process that would influence future archaeological endeavors. One of Reisner's most groundbreaking efforts was his excavation of Kerma, which he identified as a key cultural and political hub of the Kingdom of Kush. This discovery was particularly significant as Kerma's importance had previously been overshadowed by more well-known Egyptian sites. At Kerma, the most striking find was the Defufa, a towering mud brick structure that remains one of the largest and oldest of its kind in the world. Reisner suggested that the Defufa served a religious and possibly administrative function, a topic that continues to spark debate among scholars regarding its specific role. Further excavations at the royal cemeteries in Kerma unearthed a wealth of information about the burial customs of the Kushite elite. The tombs revealed a rich array of grave goods, including pottery, gold, and bronze artifacts, which spoke of a highly sophisticated culture with expansive trade networks. Additionally, evidence of human sacrifices at these sites suggested that the Kushites engaged in complex funerary rituals, underscoring the depth of their religious beliefs. The layout of Kerma, as uncovered by Reisner, indicated a highly organized urban center, complete with residential areas, production centers, and extensive fortifications. This insight provided a new perspective on the urban planning and architectural sophistication of the Kushite civilization, challenging the then prevailing notion that Nubian culture was perpetually subordinate to that of ancient Egypt. Instead, Reisner's findings highlighted the distinctiveness of the Nubian civilization and its ability to influence and control vast territories, including parts of Egypt at various times. Reisner's systematic approach to excavation and his rigorous documentation practices set new benchmarks in the field of archaeology. He was a pioneer in using stratigraphy for dating purposes, which allowed for a more accurate understanding of the chronological sequence of the sites he excavated. The legacy of his work continues to serve as a foundational resource for subsequent research on Nubia, inspiring generations of archaeologists to further explore the complexities of Nubian history and its interconnections with other ancient civilizations. As we continue to unravel the intricacies of this ancient society, Reisner's contributions remain invaluable, providing a robust framework for understanding not only Nubia's past, but also the broader narratives of ancient world histories. The rediscovery of Nubian pyramids and the archaeological efforts to save Nubian heritage in the wake of the Aswan High Dam's construction have provided profound insights into this ancient civilization.
Archaeology is often driven by accidental finds. Maybe a road is going to be built, maybe a railway is going to be built. A lot of archaeological discoveries are made as a result of that.
Nubian pyramids offer a stark contrast to their Egyptian counterparts. These structures are characterized by their steep and narrow sides and much smaller bases, ranging from approximately 6 to 30 meters across, unlike Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza, which spans over 230 meters at its base. Constructed with stepped courses of horizontally laid stone blocks, Nubian pyramids typically feature a small chapel at the base facing east, housing offerings and a stele with inscriptions about the deceased. The burial practices within these pyramids reveal a lot about the Nubians. These pyramids were not just final resting places, but also a testament to the wealth and power of the Kushite royalty and elites, reflecting a hierarchy and religious practices influenced by, yet distinct from, Egyptian traditions. Moreover, the art and hieroglyphic inscriptions on the walls of these pyramids offer critical insights into the religious beliefs and daily life of the Kushites, often including prayers and spells similar to those found in Egyptian texts, but adapted to local contexts and deities, highlighting the syncretic nature of Nubian religion. Continuing on the theme of comparisons, looking at Nubian and Mayan pyramids side by side offers fascinating insights. Both civilizations built pyramids, yet their purposes and designs reflect different cultural priorities and environmental conditions. Nubian pyramids, primarily serving as tombs for royalty, featured steep sides and narrow bases and were constructed of stone. In contrast, Mayan pyramids, often broader and less steep, served primarily religious purposes, hosting rituals and sacrifices at their summits, often accessible via a series of steps.
To people who aren't aware, there's a location in the Western Sahara Desert of Mauritania called the Richat structure. It's also commonly referred to as the Eye of the Sahara. And what's so spectacular about this is that it just so happens to match more than a dozen striking similarities to what Plato had described as the lost ancient capital city of Atlantis.
Have you ever heard of the Eye of the Sahara? Officially known as the Richat structure, this geological wonder is something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Because archaeologists roll their eyes every time you say the word Atlantis. But that is precisely the date that Plato gives for the destruction of Atlantis.
Picture this. A giant, almost circular dome sprawling 40 kilometers across the Sahara. So massive it's visible from space, but it's not just its size that's mind-blowing. The Richat structure's beauty lies in its complexity, especially its mesmerizing concentric rings. These rings aren't your regular circles. They're like fingerprints, each one unique in width, composition, and how time and the elements have worn them down. It's as if nature itself was playing architect, crafting a masterpiece over millions of years through erosion.
It is a site that most people have never seen or heard of before, which is truly peculiar because it's so spectacular.
Wind and water have sculpted this dome layer by layer, revealing a range of rings that tell a story of resilience and transformation. Now let's delve into what makes up this stunning structure.
And what I'm focusing on is the lost capital city, which was said to be made up of concentric circles, 3 of water, 2 of land, which matches the Richat structure.
The outermost rings boast Proterozoic quartzite, a rock so tough and ancient it's been around for over 600 million years. Imagine that. Quartzite starts off as sandstone and undergoes a metamorphosis with heat and pressure, emerging as this incredibly hard rock. Move inward, and the materials shift to softer, sedimentary rocks like limestone, which forms in marine environments, and sandstone, composed of tiny mineral grains. At the heart of the Richat structure, there's a fascinating mix called siliceous breccia, essentially a jumble of angular rock fragments bonded together, often found in volcanic areas or places with a lot of geological action. The Richat structure is not just a feast for the eyes, it's a geologist's dream. The variety of rock types and the formation's history offer a rare glimpse into the Earth's geological processes. When you dive into the origins of the Richat structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, you're essentially unpacking a geological mystery that's been in the making for millions of years. At the heart of this mystery is the uplifted dome theory, which geologists lean towards when explaining how this stunning feature came to be. Imagine the Earth's crust getting a gentle nudge from below, creating a bulge on the surface. Over eons, wind and water went to work on this dome, chiseling away at it. But here's the catch, not all rocks are made the same. Some are tougher, others are softer, so they didn't all erode at the same pace. This selective erosion crafted the Richat structure's iconic concentric rings, each layer telling a story of resilience and time. But wait, there's a twist in the tale thanks to Jimmy Corsetti.
The question becomes, is it big enough to be a city with possibly millions of people? Because the way it was described is that it was a city that was said to be busy all day, all night, rich in trade, with languages spoken from all over.
He floats a rather intriguing idea that maybe, just maybe, ancient humans had a hand in sculpting the Richat structure. While this leans more towards speculation, it's a fascinating thought that adds a pinch of mystery to an already captivating story. Now let's talk about the Sahara Desert, the Richat structure's vast, arid home. This desert environment, with its relentless wind erosion, has been a key player in shaping the structure. But remember, the Sahara wasn't always a desert.
And what people don't realize is that Sahara Africa, up until about 4,500 to 5,000 years ago, was totally green.
It has seen its fair share of climatic roller coasters over millions of years, each phase leaving its mark on the rate and style of erosion at the site. The rocks at the Richat structure are ancient historians, some dating back over 600 million years, offering a glimpse into the Earth's early days, continental drifts, and the dawn of life. The creation of the Richat structure wasn't an overnight affair. It was a marathon of geological activity, from the shifting of tectonic plates to the whims of climate change, all contributing to the structure's unique appearance. Erosion played the role of the sculptor, methodically revealing the different layers of rock beneath. One of the most striking aspects of the Richat structure is its near-perfect circular pattern, a feature so distinctive that astronauts use it as a space landmark.
Even if you went to Mauritania, so you could see this from space, astronauts use it as a locator, and they weren't really familiar or aware of it until the Gemini missions in the early 1960s.
It's a mesmerizing pattern that stands out in the vastness of the Sahara. Plato's tales of Atlantis, nestled within his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, really do spark the imagination, don't they? Written in the 4th century BC, at a time when Athens was basking in its golden era of philosophy and culture, Plato wasn't just any philosopher. He was a master of exploring deep concepts about society, ethics, and the nature of reality itself. Through these dialogues, it's like he's engaging in a spirited chat, using his characters to weave through various ideas and viewpoints. Then there's Atlantis, this mythical island city that Plato claimed existed beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we commonly associate with the Strait of Gibraltar today. He didn't hold back on the details, portraying Atlantis as a gargantuan landmass, outstripping the size of Libya and Asia put together. The description of its layout is nothing short of fascinating, featuring a series of concentric rings of land and sea that would have required an extraordinary feat of engineering to construct, with its elaborate canals and bridges. At the core of Atlantis was its fertile central plain, a farmer's dream, encircled by towering mountains that offered both a wealth of resources and a natural fortress. But the allure of Atlantis extended beyond its geography. Plato painted a picture of a city flush with resources and technological prowess, boasting an abundance of metals like the enigmatic orichalcum, alongside gold and silver. The infrastructure was ahead of its time, complete with sophisticated water systems, majestic temples, grand palaces, and bustling docks. Yet Atlantis was more than its physical attributes. Plato envisioned a society with a rich tapestry of laws, traditions, and governance, underpinned by a formidable military might. However, as the narrative unfolds, Atlantis transitions from a utopian exemplar to a cautionary tale of corruption and decline, ultimately leading to its downfall. This story, layered with intricate details and moral undertones, continues to captivate and fuel the imagination, a testament to Plato's enduring legacy. While there's a resemblance to Plato's Atlantis, the geographical settings throw us for a loop. The Richat structure sits in the heart of the Sahara, far from the Atlantic Ocean, where Atlantis was said to be.
But another little detail that most people aren't aware of, because they think of Atlantis like, oh, it must be at the bottom of the ocean. Well, that's not exactly how Plato worded it. Like, a lot of people see the Sahara Desert, and they don't realize that this place was unbelievably different than it is today.
This discrepancy hasn't stopped theorists from suggesting that perhaps the Sahara's landscape was vastly different in the past, possibly even near water, or more hospitable than today's arid expanse. The Eye of the Sahara isn't just a geological wonder, it's a treasure trove of archaeological finds that shed light on ancient human life. Stone tools scattered around the area, including arrowheads, scrapers, and axes, tell tales of hunting and crafting. Pottery fragments whisper secrets of domestic life, indicating a significant leap in cultural and technological evolution. But it's the remnants of potential permanent settlements that really pique our curiosity, suggesting that this wasn't merely a waypoint for nomads, but a home for a settled community. The rock art adorning cliff faces and cave interiors near the Richat structure is nothing short of mesmerizing. These paintings and engravings, featuring animals like antelopes and elephants, transport us to a time when the Sahara thrived with life. Human figures and abstract designs depicted in these artworks offer glimpses into the social, cultural, and possibly spiritual lives of these ancient peoples. The rock art adorning cliff faces and cave interiors near the Richat structure is nothing short of mesmerizing. These archaeological discoveries are not just remnants of a bygone era, they're pieces of a puzzle that help us piece together the story of human existence and evolution in the Sahara. They speak of adaptation and resilience in the face of climatic shifts that transformed a once lush region into the vast desert we see today. The prospect of permanent settlements, while still under investigation, opens new chapters in the story of African prehistory, enriching our understanding of early human societies on this diverse continent. It's a testament to the power of the past, and how even the smallest clues can illuminate the vast tapestry of human history.
3 years after the fall of Jerusalem and the Temple, when an Arch of Triumph was erected in Rome, 960 men were holding that cliff of Masada against the whole might of the Roman Empire. I had the honor and privilege to excavate the site completely, and in fact all the discoveries which we made prove that the story of Josephus Flavius was correct.
Perched high above the Dead Sea, the ancient fortress of Masada stands as a magnificent structure to human ingenuity and resilience. This awe-inspiring megastructure, discovered by scientists, reveals a fascinating blend of royal luxury and desperate defiance. But the story doesn't end there. Just a short distance away, the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls has added an even deeper layer of mystery and historical significance to the region. Join us as we unravel the secrets of Masada and explore how these incredible finds are reshaping our understanding of ancient civilizations. Masada is an ancient fortification located on a rugged, isolated rock plateau in the southeastern region of Israel, overlooking the western shore of the Dead Sea. This impressive site, also known as Masada in Hebrew, symbolizes Jewish heroism due to its historical significance and dramatic landscape. Rising approximately 450 meters above the level of the Dead Sea, Masada is an imposing natural fortress. The plateau itself is about 600 meters long and 300 meters wide at its widest point, with a flat top covering around 9 hectares, roughly equivalent in size to 17 football fields. Constructed during the reign of Herod the Great between 37 and 31 BCE, Masada was chosen for its defensible position and strategic advantage. Herod, known for his monumental building projects, envisioned Masada as a refuge for himself and his followers in case of a revolt. The site gained particular historical prominence during the First Jewish-Roman battle. According to the Jewish historian Flavius Josephus, Masada became the last stronghold of Jewish rebels known as the Sicarii, who held out against a Roman siege. After a lengthy siege, the Romans constructed a massive ramp on the western side of the plateau to breach the walls. Masada has yielded a plethora of archaeological treasures that provide a vivid glimpse into the lives of its ancient inhabitants. The primary excavations conducted by Israeli archaeologist Yigael Yadin in the 1960s uncovered numerous artifacts and structures that tell the story of Herod's grand vision and the final stand of the Jewish rebels. Herod's palace complex at Masada is a testament to his architectural ambition and penchant for luxury. The complex is divided into several distinct sections. The northern palace is the most elaborate part, constructed on 3 rock terraces. The upper terrace housed living quarters and a semicircular portico that offered stunning views of the Dead Sea. The middle terrace featured an elaborate reception hall, while the lower terrace included a bathhouse with a sophisticated hypocaust heating system. The walls were adorned with frescoes depicting floral and geometric designs, and the floors were covered with intricate mosaics, showcasing the opulence of Herod's reign. The Western Palace served as the administrative hub, including living quarters, storerooms, and a large central courtyard. It also contained an audience room with a throne niche, indicating Herod's need for a formal space to conduct affairs of state. The palace's storerooms were well stocked with foodstuffs, wine, and oil, indicating meticulous preparation for a prolonged stay or siege. The palace complex featured several bathhouses, equipped with both cold and hot baths, steam rooms, and dressing rooms. These bathhouses were marvels of engineering. with sophisticated water heating and circulation systems that reflect the Roman influence on Herod's architectural style. The synagogue at Masada is one of the oldest synagogues discovered in Israel, providing a rare glimpse into Jewish religious practices during the Second Temple period. Stone benches lining the walls would have accommodated congregants during prayer and study. A small room adjacent to the main hall, believed to have been used to store religious texts, yielded fragments of biblical scrolls, including parts of Deuteronomy and Ezekiel, underscoring the spiritual life of the Masada inhabitants. The Roman ramp and surrounding siege camps are significant for understanding Roman military strategy and engineering prowess. Built on the western side of the plateau, the ramp is a massive earthwork structure, rising over 200 meters. Constructed by the 10th Roman Legion, the ramp allowed the Romans to move siege towers and battering rams to breach the fortress walls. 8 Roman camps encircled Masada, their outlines still visible today. These camps housed thousands of soldiers and included command centers, barracks, and supply depots. The largest camp, known as Camp F, served as the headquarters for the Roman commander, Lucius Flavius Silva. One fascinating theory posits that the Sicarii rebels might have engaged in psychological warfare against the Romans. Imagine the rebels using reflective surfaces, such as polished shields or metal objects, to create blinding flashes of sunlight aimed at the Roman soldiers. This clever tactic could have disrupted Roman activities and lowered their morale. While speculative, this theory adds a layer of intrigue to the story of Masada's defense. An interesting comparison can be made between Masada and Alcatraz Island in San Francisco Bay, USA. Both are isolated fortifications with dramatic histories of resistance and imprisonment. Alcatraz is famous for its use as a federal prison, known for holding notorious criminals and its almost impossible to escape location. Meanwhile, Masada is renowned for its role as a last stand against a powerful enemy. The structures on Masada were not carved directly from the mountain, but were built using stones quarried from the surrounding area. The natural features of the plateau were cleverly incorporated into the design, enhancing its defensive capabilities. Herod's engineers were particularly skilled, creating elaborate water systems, including cisterns capable of storing large quantities of water. This ensured a sustainable supply in the arid environment, a critical factor for the inhabitants' survival during sieges. Masada is not only a historical site but also a natural one, home to a variety of unique flora and fauna. The plateau and its surroundings are part of the Judean Desert, which hosts several species adapted to the harsh, arid environment. Among the interesting wildlife that can be spotted around Masada are the Nubian ibex, a type of wild goat known for its impressive climbing abilities, and the Tristram's starling, a bird recognizable by its glossy black feathers and orange wing patches. These species add an ecological dimension to the experience of visiting Masada, showcasing the biodiversity of the region alongside its rich history. One of the most significant ancient discoveries near Masada is the collection of texts known as the Dead Sea Scrolls. These ancient manuscripts were found in a series of caves around the site of Qumran, located about 20 kilometers northwest of Masada. The Dead Sea Scrolls were first discovered by Bedouin shepherds in 1947 and later excavated by archaeologists in the 1950s. Dating from the 3rd century BCE to the 1st century CE, these scrolls include some of the oldest known copies of the Hebrew Bible, along with a variety of other texts that shed light on the religious practices and beliefs of the time. The scrolls are composed of several types of writings. Around 40% of the scrolls are copies of texts from the Hebrew Bible, including parts of every book except Esther, providing critical insight into the early forms of the biblical manuscripts. There are also sectarian manuscripts, which include rules, hymns, and commentaries specific to the community believed to have inhabited Qumran, often identified as the Essenes. These documents offer a glimpse into the beliefs, practices, and daily life of this group. Additionally, there are apocryphal and pseudepigraphal texts, which are writings not included in the canonical Hebrew Bible. These include additional stories and interpretations that were part of the broader Jewish tradition at the time. The scrolls were found in 11 caves near Qumran, and the site itself has been extensively excavated. Archaeologists have uncovered ruins of a settlement that likely housed the Essenes, featuring communal dining rooms, ritual baths, and a scriptorium where some of the scrolls may have been copied. This settlement provides valuable context for the scrolls and insight into the community that produced and used them. There is a historical link between Masada and the Dead Sea Scrolls. Some of the scrolls found at Masada itself during Yigael Yadin's excavations included biblical texts similar to those discovered at Qumran. This suggests that the Jewish rebels who occupied Masada during the Roman siege might have brought these sacred texts with them, further highlighting the cultural and religious continuity in the region during that period. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls is often considered one of the greatest archaeological finds of the 20th century, providing invaluable insights into the history of Judaism and the early development of Christianity. The scrolls are now housed in the Shrine of the Book at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, where they continue to be a major focus of scholarly research and public interest.
Anunnaki and Atlanteans are really, in my opinion, the same exact people. Atlantis is everywhere. We are all standing and sitting on Atlantis at this exact moment. The Ring City, in my opinion, was just one of many capitals on Earth. But my personal opinion is the Anunnaki are the Atlanteans.
Billy Carson, a prominent figure in the realm of alternative history and ancient astronaut theories, has developed a comprehensive narrative about the reasons behind the Anunnaki's visit to Earth. Drawing from ancient texts, mythology, and speculative theories, Carson provides a multifaceted explanation for the Anunnaki's arrival on our planet. So why did they come to planet Earth?
There was an ancient galactic war there. This created something called space refugees.
One of the central themes in the interpretation is the Anunnaki's need for gold. According to these theories, the Anunnaki required gold for their home planet, Nibiru. It is posited that gold had unique properties vital for Nibiru's atmosphere or technological needs. This aligns with Zecharia Sitchin's interpretations of Sumerian texts, suggesting that the Anunnaki used gold to create a protective shield for their planet's atmosphere, reflecting cosmic radiation and stabilizing their environment. Upon discovering Earth, the Anunnaki identified it as a rich source of gold. They established extensive mining operations, primarily in regions like southern Africa, where ancient gold mines have been found.
There was this place in South Africa called Adam's Calendar, where they found the very first gold mines that human beings were working underneath their boot.
The most notable of these ancient mining sites is the Barberton Greenstone Belt. The Barberton Greenstone Belt, located in South Africa, is one of the oldest geological formations on Earth and contains some of the oldest gold mines known to humanity. It dates back approximately 3.5 to 3.2 billion years. This area is famous for its gold deposits, which have been mined for thousands of years. According to the theories, the Anunnaki established their mining operations in this region due to its rich gold reserves. The mines in this area, such as those found in Mpumalanga, are believed to have been used by ancient civilizations, possibly influenced by the Anunnaki.
Now, what's interesting about these aliens is that they're not little green men with antennae. They look just like us.
An example of these ancient mines is the Ngwenya mine, located in Swaziland, which is considered one of the world's oldest mines. Archaeological evidence suggests that mining activities at Ngwenya date back more than 43,000 years. Theorists propose that such ancient mining sites may have been part of the Anunnaki's extensive network of gold extraction operations. Initially, the Anunnaki themselves conducted the mining work. These beings, according to the theories, possessed advanced technology and physical capabilities that allowed them to undertake the arduous task of gold mining. However, despite their advanced abilities, the laborious and hazardous nature of the mining process soon became a significant challenge. The harsh conditions and intensive labor required for gold extraction prompted the Anunnaki to seek alternative solutions to sustain their operations. Faced with the need to alleviate the demanding physical labor, the Anunnaki explored several alternatives before resorting to the creation of a new labor force through genetic engineering. These alternatives included automated machines and tools. The Anunnaki might have initially utilized advanced machinery designed to perform mining tasks. These machines, though efficient, may have required constant maintenance and lacked the adaptability needed for varied mining conditions. Another possibility is that the Anunnaki might have employed workers from other planets or even their own ranks. However, The sheer scale and prolonged nature of the mining operations could have rendered this approach unsustainable. Before creating modern humans, the Anunnaki might have experimented with other native species on Earth to enhance their abilities for labor. These experiments might have led to the creation of various hybrid beings mentioned in ancient myths and legends. Ultimately, the Anunnaki decided to create a new species that could effectively handle the labor-intensive mining operations. This decision led to what is known as the Adamu experiment, where the Anunnaki combined their DNA with that of early hominids to produce a hybrid species, Homo sapiens.
We actually look like them.
Okay.
And the reason why is because we have their genetics and their DNA inside of our bodies.
The primary reason for genetically modifying humans was to create a labor force capable of performing the strenuous and repetitive tasks required for mining gold. The Anunnaki sought a species that was intelligent enough to follow complex instructions, but still docile and subservient. By blending their DNA with that of early hominids, the Anunnaki aimed to produce beings who possessed the physical endurance and adaptability of Earth's native species, combined with the intelligence and technological proficiency of the Anunnaki. The Adamu experiment involved the creation of the first humans, Adam and Eve, as laborers. This concept parallels the biblical creation story, but with an extraterrestrial twist. The term Adamu is used in Sumerian texts to refer to the first man, created by the god Enki and the goddess Ninhursag. These deities, interpreted as Anunnaki scientists, conducted a series of genetic experiments to develop a suitable human workforce. The initial experiments by the Anunnaki focused on combining their own DNA with that of various indigenous species on Earth. These early attempts resulted in numerous failures and partial successes, producing beings that either lacked the necessary intelligence, physical capabilities, or docility required for effective labor. The Anunnaki had specific requirements for their workforce. They needed the beings to be intelligent enough to understand and carry out complex instructions. Mining for gold was labor-intensive and required significant physical strength and stamina, so physical endurance was a must. The new species needed to be adaptable to various environmental conditions and able to learn and develop new skills as needed. To ensure a sustainable workforce, the beings needed to reproduce naturally, eliminating the need for the Anunnaki to continuously create new workers. While intelligence and adaptability were crucial, it was equally important that the beings remain subservient and manageable to prevent rebellion or resistance. Through a meticulous process of trial and error, the Anunnaki scientists, Enki and Ninhursag, eventually created the first successful prototypes of modern humans. By splicing Anunnaki DNA with that of early hominids, the scientists were able to introduce advanced cognitive abilities and enhanced physical traits. This genetic intervention was aimed at elevating the primitive hominids' capabilities to meet the labor demands. Once the new humans, referred to as Adamu, were created, they underwent training to learn the specific tasks required in mining and other labor-intensive activities. This ensured that they could perform their duties efficiently. Additionally, the Anunnaki scientists carefully integrated traits that promoted loyalty and subservience. This was done to ensure that the humans remained compliant and did not challenge the authority of their creators. The narrative about the Anunnaki posits that these ancient extraterrestrial beings created humans for the purpose of mining gold, a resource they needed for their home planet, Nibiru. This raises intriguing questions about the long-term implications for humanity and whether the Anunnaki might return to collect the gold. According to the interpretation, the Anunnaki might have decided that it was more efficient to let humans mine gold slowly over thousands of years, rather than attempting to extract it rapidly, even with their advanced technology. This theory could be based on several factors. First, even with advanced technology, the sheer volume of gold embedded in the Earth's crust may have made rapid extraction impractical. The process of mining gold is labor-intensive and time-consuming, involving complex geological formations that even the Anunnaki might have found challenging to exploit quickly. By creating humans and providing them with the necessary skills and knowledge to mine gold, the Anunnaki ensured a self-sustaining system. Humans, driven by their own economic and cultural incentives, would continue to mine gold, gradually accumulating the resource without the need for continuous intervention from the Anunnaki. Additionally, the Anunnaki might have envisioned a long-term strategy where gold is slowly accumulated over millennia. This approach would ensure a steady supply of gold, allowing the Anunnaki to return periodically to collect the amassed reserves without having to manage daily operations. Another intriguing theory is that world nations could be secretly collecting gold from their citizens to give it to the Anunnaki. Governments around the world hold significant gold reserves, often under the guise of financial stability and economic security. These reserves are collected through various means, including gold taxes, purchasing programs, and confiscation during times of crisis. According to this theory, there might be clandestine agreements between world leaders and the Anunnaki. These agreements would stipulate that a portion of the gold reserves be set aside for the Anunnaki, who periodically visit Earth to collect their share. The theory could draw on historical events where governments have seized gold from their citizens, such as the United States Executive Order 6102 in 1933, which required citizens to turn in their gold. Such events could be interpreted as part of a broader, long-term plan to gather gold for the Anunnaki. The global financial system, with its emphasis on gold as a stable asset, might be part of a grand design to ensure that sufficient quantities of gold are available for the Anunnaki. Central banks and financial institutions could be complicit in this secret agenda, managing the flow of gold to meet extraterrestrial demands.
Are we secure on the dating of all the structures above water on Malta? And I suggest strongly that we're not.
Yeah.
There are very few carbon dates from Malta, and the new dating work that's been done there hasn't added usefully to that database. Been very little carbon dating done on the Maltese temples. And that carbon dating is itself insecure. Malta used to be joined to Sicily during the Ice Age. Malta wasn't an island, it was part of the mainland.
Yeah.
Imagine standing before structures that predate the Great Pyramids and Stonehenge, shrouded in mystery and built by a civilization lost to time.
I believe that's the time where we lost track of an episode in our story, where we lost track of an earlier civilization.
Welcome to the megalithic temples of Malta, some of the oldest freestanding structures on Earth. These architectural marvels are not only masterpieces of ancient engineering, but also portals into the past of a sophisticated society whose understanding of astronomy continues to intrigue scholars and scientists.
A deep understanding of astronomy that could only be gained through hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years of very careful observation.
Join us as we explore the secrets these stone giants hold, revealing insights into a world both ancient and astonishingly advanced. Despite their historical and architectural significance, these ancient temples were not recognized for their true value until the late 19th century. Before this period, local awareness of their antiquity was minimal, and preservation was not considered a priority. Throughout earlier centuries, the temples suffered from local farming and building practices that led to significant deterioration. Stones from these structures were frequently removed and repurposed for new construction projects.
A lot of archaeology that gets done doesn't get done because of a targeted search. It may be because a dam is being built or a new highway is being built.
The first documented mention of the temples appeared in Jean-Quentin d'Autin's 1536 publication Insulae Militae Descriptio, which noted the existence of ancient ruins on Malta, though detailed archaeological interest would only take shape much later. Dating from 3600 BC to 2500 BC, these temples are older than both Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids. Recognizing their profound historical and cultural significance, several of the temples were designated as UNESCO World Heritage Sites in 1980. This recognition was a crucial step in ensuring their preservation and promoting further scholarly research and public awareness. Systematic studies and excavations of these sites began in earnest in the early 20th century with Sir Themistocles Zammit, a man of many talents including archaeology, medicine, history, and curation. Starting around 1905, Zammit's extensive archaeological work marked a significant pivot towards the scientific exploration of these structures. His efforts established a chronological framework for the construction and usage of the temples, greatly enhancing our understanding of prehistoric Maltese culture.
A lost civilization of prehistoric antiquity.
Zamet's findings not only attracted international scholarly interest, but also helped increase tourism, bringing additional funding and support for further studies. Among his discoveries were numerous artifacts, including pottery, tools, and the iconic Fat Lady figurines, thought to represent a fertility goddess or a maternal figure. Continuing from the fascinating historical backdrop and archaeological discoveries, the megalithic temples of Malta are not just ancient architectural marvels. They are sophisticated structures that intricately reflect the socio-religious fabric of the society that constructed them. Their design demonstrates an advanced knowledge of stonework and astronomy. The temples are renowned for their unique trefoil layout, which consists of 3 semicircular chambers connected by a central corridor. This design is not only unique to Maltese temple architecture, but is also laden with symbolic meanings. It could represent various stages of life, celestial bodies, or deities from local mythology, with the repetition of the number 3 perhaps signifying a sacred or divine principle in their cosmology. Functionally, these chambers likely serve diverse ritualistic or communal purposes, each possibly dedicated to different aspects of life or deities. The layout itself facilitates processional movements, which are believed to have been part of the ritual activities conducted within these sacred spaces. Moreover, the orientation and layout of the temples are marked by astronomical precision. For instance, the Manadra South Temple aligns with the equinox sunrise, allowing light to flood the main corridor and central chambers at specific times of the year. This dramatic interplay of light and shadows could have been crucial for marking seasonal changes and regulating ceremonial calendars.
There was a highly sophisticated knowledge of the precession of the equinoxes, that it's impossible to trace how far back it goes.
The choice of temple locations also takes into account visual and environmental factors, such as line of sight to important landscape features, horizon visibility for astronomical observations, and protection from prevailing winds, showing a sophisticated integration of architecture with the natural landscape. The structural engineering techniques used in the temples also reveal the builders' innovative approaches. The use of corbelling, where stones are laid horizontally and each successive layer extends slightly beyond the one below, allowed the creation of self-supporting domed or vaulted structures. This early form of arch construction, predating Roman arches, illustrates their advanced engineering capabilities. Additionally, the flexibility inherent in the corbelling and the interlocking of megaliths without mortar could have provided some resistance to seismic activity, an important consideration given Malta's location within the Mediterranean seismic belt. The decorative elements of the temples further enrich their architectural sophistication. Elaborate carvings and reliefs, including spirals, animal figures, and plant motifs, are deeply engraved into the limestone. These decorations are not merely ornamental, they are imbued with symbolic meanings, possibly representing fertility, the cycle of life, or a connection to nature. Artifacts such as the famous Fat Lady sculptures and other statuettes found in and around the temples suggest that these sites also served as focal points for art and culture. Additionally, traces of red ochre found on some temple walls indicate that color was used either to enhance certain carvings or to demarcate special areas within the temples, adding another layer to the sophisticated aesthetic and ceremonial aspects of the temple architecture. The construction techniques used in the megalithic temples of Malta further highlight the advanced engineering of their creators. The construction of these ancient temples showcases an exceptional mastery of various techniques that have contributed to their preservation through millennia.
I can't help thinking time capsule, that there was an intention to preserve this.
One of the most critical materials in the construction of these temples is Globigerina limestone, a sedimentary rock predominant in the Maltese archipelago. Notably soft when freshly quarried, this limestone allowed artisans to carve intricate details and shape the stones with relative ease. As the limestone is exposed to air, it undergoes a hardening process due to the gradual evaporation of inherent moisture and crystallization of minerals. This transformation significantly enhances the resilience and longevity of the structures. The intricate carvings on the temple walls, including spiral designs and animal figures, attest to the high level of craftsmanship and the advanced tools and techniques employed during their creation. The logistics involved in moving and assembling massive limestone blocks, some weighing several tons, were formidable. Theories suggest that the builders might have used log rollers, stone balls, or sledges made from tree trunks, often lubricated with plant oils or animal fats to reduce friction. This suggests a highly organized society with clear hierarchies and labor specialization, capable of coordinating large-scale construction efforts. There is also evidence to suggest that ramps made from earth or smaller stones were used to position these large blocks, similar to techniques used in other ancient civilizations. Moreover, the temples exemplify an advanced use of mortarless construction. Builders employed a technique of cutting and fitting stones so precisely that no mortar was needed to hold them together. This dry stone technique, known for its durability and flexibility in seismic activity, involves crafting joints that interlock without gaps. The lack of mortar not only prevents erosion, but also allows the structures to breathe during earthquakes, enabling the stones to shift slightly and settle back without causing structural damage, a technique that has proven effective in other earthquake-prone regions like those encountered by Inca architects. It's fascinating to draw parallels and contrast these ancient marvels with other legendary structures like Machu Picchu. Both sites utilize mortarless construction techniques, which not only exemplifies the precision of stone cutting in ancient times, but also ensures the stability and longevity of these structures. This shared approach underlines a profound understanding of stone properties and structural engineering across two very different cultures. However, the cultural contexts and geographical settings of the megalithic temples and Machu Picchu are distinctly different. The temples in Malta were primarily religious structures. In contrast, Machu Picchu likely served a dual purpose as both a royal estate and a religious retreat, possibly. Geographically, the Maltese temples are nestled on a small island terrain, whereas Machu Picchu sits high in the Andes Mountains. These differences reflect how each culture adapted its architectural styles and techniques to fit its environment and societal needs. During World War II, Malta's strategic position in the Mediterranean made it a prime target, leading to heavy bombings. The value of the megalithic temples was recognized during these turbulent times, prompting significant protective measures. One notable method was the sand covering technique used at sites like Hagar Kim, where heaps of earth and sand were piled over the temples to cushion the impact of bomb blasts and prevent damage from flying debris. While this method helped prevent direct damage during air raids, it also introduced challenges like moisture retention, which could accelerate erosion of the stonework. After the war, extensive surveys and careful removal of sand were necessary to assess any damage and prevent further stress on the ancient stones. These ongoing research and conservation efforts are vital for sustaining the legacy of the megalithic temples of Malta, allowing future generations to marvel at these testaments to human ingenuity and resilience.
We have this curious stonework, and we also have it at Alakahoyuk in Turkey. Exactly the same kind of thing. Is this a coincidence, or is there something going on behind the scenes of history that we've not been fully informed about yet?
Perched high atop the rugged peaks of the Taurus Mountains in southeastern Turkey, the tomb of King Antiochus Theos of Commagene at Mount Nemrut beckons with the whispers of ancient secrets and celestial mysteries. Erected over 2 millennia ago, this monumental sanctuary is not only a marvel of Hellenistic engineering, but also a cryptic canvas of colossal gods and inscriptions that blend the myths of East and West. As the sun rises and sets, aligning perfectly with the stone behemoths that guard this sacred summit, the mystery deepens. What divine ambitions did this forgotten king harbor, and what secrets lie buried beneath these stone giants, silently watching over the empire of Commagene? For centuries, the towering statues of Mount Nemrut stood silently, known only to the local people who wove their existence into the fabric of local myths, calling it the throne of the gods. This mix of reverence and legend kept the site tucked away in the annals of folklore until a twist of fate brought it back into the light. In the 1880s, Karl Sester, a German road engineer working on infrastructure projects for the Ottoman Empire, stumbled upon these majestic relics not out of archaeological zeal, but through sheer happenstance. His subsequent sketches and reports were the first to unveil the grandeur of Nemrut's statues to the Western world, sparking a wave of interest among European archaeologists and historians. The rediscovery of Mount Nemrut set the stage for a series of explorations that would delve deeper into its historical and cultural contexts. Shortly after Sesta, Osman Hamdi Bey, an Ottoman archaeologist and painter, conducted more systematic studies at the site. He proposed that the Grand Mound could very well be the tomb of King Antiochus III of Commagene, an idea supported by the inscriptions and formidable statues that guard the site. This period marked a significant turning point, drawing a flurry of academic expeditions that pieced together the narrative of King Antiochus I, while enriching the field of Near Eastern archaeology. The artistic styles of the statues, with their blend of Persian, Hellenistic, and indigenous elements, provide a fascinating glimpse into the cultural interplay of the Hellenistic period, post-Alexander the Great's conquests. This fusion of artistic influences offers a window into the dynamic cultural exchanges of the era, further underscoring the historical significance of southeastern Turkey as a cultural crossroads. Perched at an altitude of 2,134 meters in the rugged Taurus Mountains, Mount Nemrut commands a view that stretches vast and wide, overseeing the Euphrates River Valley. This strategic and visual dominance was no accident. It was a clear symbol of power and divine status, meticulously chosen by King Antiochus I. The site's layout, with its statues and burial mound aligned to catch the rays of the rising sun during the equinox and the setting sun at the summer solstice, underscores the solar worship prevalent during Antiochus's reign. This astronomical alignment not only highlights the king's desire to link himself with the cosmos, but also speaks volumes about the sophisticated understanding of celestial patterns by ancient civilizations. The mystical heights of Mount Nemrut in southeastern Turkey are not only a testament to ancient engineering, but also to the pioneering spirit of those who have uncovered its secrets. In 1953, American archaeologist Teresa Girl began a systematic exploration of this enigmatic site, which was particularly groundbreaking as it was one of the first major archaeological projects led by a woman. Her work, supported by institutions like the Bollingen Foundation, the American Philosophical Society, and later the National Geographic Society, was crucial for the sustained excavation and research that would follow. Despite numerous challenges, including harsh weather conditions and logistical issues in transporting equipment up the mountain, Girl's team persevered. Using traditional excavation techniques, Girl and her crew were meticulous in their approach, ensuring the integrity of every artifact and structure discovered. Their efforts unveiled not just the colossal statues, but also a series of reliefs and inscriptions that illuminated the cultural and religious life of the Kingdom of Commagene. These findings were pivotal in confirming that the tumulus was indeed the burial site of Antiochus III, aligning with earlier hypotheses about the site's purpose. As archaeological methods advanced, later explorations at Mount Nemrut incorporated technologies such as digital mapping and photogrammetry. These tools allowed archaeologists to capture high-resolution images of the site, which facilitated precise measurements and detailed records of the statues and inscriptions without risking physical damage. Techniques like ground-penetrating radar and electrical resistivity tomography were also employed to probe the internal structure of the tumulus, searching for potential burial chambers or other archaeological features without the need for invasive digging. Further studies have focused on the astronomical significance of the site's layout. Researchers suggest that the arrangement of the statues may align with the rising and setting of the sun during solstices and equinoxes, hinting at these events' religious or ceremonial importance in Antiochus's ideology. From the tomb of Antiochus the Baion at Mount Nemrut to the pyramids of Giza in Egypt, there lies a fascinating comparison. Both sites were built as tombs for their respective rulers, serving as monumental tributes to their power and divine status. However, while the pyramids are primarily massive stone structures designed to house the pharaoh's remains and belongings for the afterlife, Mount Nemrut combines burial purposes with a religious sanctuary, featuring colossal statues that showcase a blend of Hellenistic and Persian influences. Moreover, both sites exhibit significant astronomical alignments. The pyramids are meticulously aligned to the cardinal points, possibly reflecting celestial phenomena, while Nemrut's layout seems to focus on solar events, emphasizing the importance of astronomy in ancient religious and burial practices. This fascinating alignment hints at a deeper connection between celestial phenomena and the divine rites of ancient rulers, suggesting that these majestic sites were not only final resting places, but also key to understanding the cosmos itself. The artifacts and inscriptions unearthed at Mount Nemrut serve as crucial pieces in piecing together the reign of Antiochus the Theos and the syncretic fabric of the Commagene kingdom. It's truly fascinating how these discoveries offer deep insights into his ambitions and ideological foundations. The inscriptions on Mount Nemrut are a linguistic blend of Greek and Persian, underscoring the dual influences that shaped the kingdom. Greek served as the lingua franca of the broader Hellenistic world, while Persian reflected the local traditions and the legacy of the Achaemenid Empire from which Commagene emerged. Delving deeper into the inscriptions, they frequently include detailed genealogies that link Antiochus to deities and illustrious rulers. This not only legitimized his rule, but also positioned him as a cultural and celestial bridge. Among these, the Nomos of Antiochus inscription is particularly noteworthy. This foundational text outlined the religious and administrative laws Antiochus established, detailing ritual practices and festivals to honor him alongside the gods after his death, effectively creating a state religion that deified the king. Turning our gaze to the statues and reliefs, the iconography at Mount Nemrut is nothing short of spectacular. The statues depict Antiochus the Tarn alongside a pantheon of gods such as Zeus Oromazdes, Apollo Mithras, and Hercules Artagnes, merging Greek and Persian divine figures. These statues are not only colossal but intricately carved from stone, showcasing a blend of artistic styles that highlight Antiochus's role as a mediator between his people and the divine. This symbolic placement elevates him to a semi-divine status, visually asserting his place in the cosmic order. An interesting parallel can be drawn between the statues at Mount Nemrut and China's terracotta army. Both serve profound funerary and commemorative purposes, standing as guardians over the afterlives of their respective rulers and as monumental tributes to their divine status. However, while the terracotta army underscores the military might of the Chinese emperor, the statues at Mount Nemrut emphasize a blend of military prowess and divine wisdom, reflecting Antiochus's unique approach to rulership. Moreover, one of the most captivating theories about Mount Nemrut concerns its astronomical alignment. Researchers suggest that the arrangement of the statues and the tumulus itself may align with astronomical phenomena such as solstices and equinoxes. This alignment might mark significant dates like Antiochus's birthday or coronation day, or serve to highlight seasonal festivals that reinforced his divine kingship.